Who are you? What are your values? What is your passion? These are questions that we are constantly asked throughout our lives. Many of us, like myself, don't have the answer to these questions right on the spot, and that's okay. In school, we're constantly taught about what makes a great leader. However, I believe it's more important to know what makes you a great leader. I believe that the first step in knowing what makes you a great leader is knowing who you are as a person. You can't lead anyone else until you can truly know who you are yourself. I always find it strange when people get offended about what others say about them. If someone makes a statement about you that's true, then who cares? Embrace it. Don't let it crush you, even if it's not the most flattering statement in the world. And if someone says something about you that's false, then it doesn't matter. They clearly don't know you well enough. It's important to know yourself well enough to know that no matter what anyone else says, it doesn't define you. You are the only one who defines you. Sometimes when determining who we are, we have to reflect on our past. Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect all the dots going forward, only when going back." Ever since I heard this quote, it has really stuck with me. Often, when we have obstacles in our lives, we see them as a horrible thing. We don't understand why things aren't going our way, and we don't know what we did to deserve it. I've learned to believe that everything happens for a reason. The obstacles are put in our lives to take us on the right path. They're there as stepping stones that will one day define you as a person and make your life better. The next step is establishing your values. Your values should be characteristics that define you as a person. So what matters to you? In order to determine this, I think it's important to listen to your heart. What do you hold most important to you? My values have always been loyalty and honesty, and these relate to the important leadership trait of integrity. If I don't feel as though I can trust someone, I have no interest in maintaining a relationship with them. Because I find loyalty and honesty such strong values, I try to exert them as much as possible. I try to be someone that others can look up to and know that they can trust. I try to be someone that others can rely on and know that I will never let them down. It's the third step in figuring out who you are as a leader is finding out what your passion is. And an important thing that I learned is that you don't have to know what your passion is from a young age. I didn't know what my passion was until I reached university and realized that I have a passion for marketing and PR. When I was in school, people always would ask me what my favorite sport was, because usually at a young age, sports are kids' passions. However, that was never me. People would often find it funny when they asked me what my favorite sport was, and I said I didn't have one. That just wasn't what I liked to do. On my spare time, I enjoyed hanging out with my friends or having girls' nights. I was always the one of my friends that would plan all of our events. There were 6 of us growing up, so coordinating all of those schedules at times was tricky, but I was always the one in charge of it. Whenever something was going wrong in our friend group, or whenever a day had to be planned, everyone would just say, "It's okay, Shannon will handle it." At a young age, I didn't know that one day I would be able to turn this into a career. I didn't know that knowing what to do and being able to handle situations was PR. Last year in school, I entered a business competition where my teammates and I created a campaign. This was an eye-opening experience because it really clarified for me that this is what I wanted to do, that this is my passion. What I've learned is that just because it isn't society's norm doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because it wasn't the norm that I didn't play a sport didn't mean that I was a strange child. Leaders often are different. Leaders stand out from the crowd and aren't worried about what others think or how they act. To me, this is what makes a great leader, knowing who you are as a person and being someone who others look up to. Being a good leader is about being true to yourself. So, before you decide what makes you a great leader, It's important that you have the answers to who you are, what your values are, and what your passion is.